let's move on to today's guest.
Well, who's in? Well, I can see him, actually.
You can see him. Today, so it's a bit of a story. So when we first started this little idea of doing a podcast, and then we got involved and then thought maybe something visual would be good. So what's more visual than art? Yeah, so a long-time friend of mine, a bit of a character, and now a bit of a legend. So I'm glad I knew him before he was a legend, otherwise it'd be costing us money, this. Mr. Nicolas Dixon.
Oh, you're too kind, Charlie boy.
It's all true, mate. It's all true. I mean, this is sort of takes us full circle. I know the vlogs are coming out after the podcasts. We're evolving. The podcasts are evolving, much like yourself evolving. And everywhere we go, we seem to see Dicko's art around, and it's brilliant, isn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah, it's great.
So what we'd like to do today is we're going to sort of recap some of the things we spoke about in the vlog, and the reason we want a podcast is because of how much we spoke about on the vlog, and we just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
So if you would like to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, a bit about your history, and I think, to be fair, mate, we're just going to wing it out with a bit of conversation. There's no point in me writing anything down with you.
I'm 50 next, and I've been winging it 49 point whatever years. So yeah, it's that one.
I've known you a lot of them. I've known you a lot of them.
I know, mate. So yeah, all good. Well, yeah, as people probably know, I'm a Leeds born and bred. Very proud to be. The Leeds boy. We've had a few rocky times along the.
The city or ourselves?
Yeah,
both.
Both. So I think it's been a journey together as a city, as a person. I think we're growing together. It's as you see, where Leeds has come as a city. When we were kids growing up, it was dark, wasn't it?
Dismal,
miserable.
I remember everything being in black and white. You walked out of the house and it was black and white.
And grey. So to bring a bit of colour to that, to add a bit of colour, should I say, to this fantastic city of ours is it's a pleasure, and it's just great to see it building, and to say we're going to go into a recession, we're not doing bad, are we? It's like you can't go around the corner without seeing a crane, and
there's something going on. Something going on somewhere. Someone's got some money.
Yeah, of course they have.
Not us. If I was to take you back nearly 50 years and just tell us how you came into life and your childhood.
Yeah.
I'm interested in how it's led to this stage of you with all this creativity.
Yeah.
But I think it goes right.
Well, just sort of the last project what I did, which is sort of that started in my mother's womb, if you like.
What was the last project?
I've just painted. It was a collaboration with Paul Trevelyan, who's like an old school illustrator. He created Roy of the Rovers, so in the 50s for Ego magazine.
He was a good footballer.
Yeah, he certainly was, mate. He certainly was.
I wonder what he'd be on the market now.
Oh, exactly. So it was through the Leeds United Supporters Trust, who I've worked with before, doing the one up at the Pudsey Market. So the idea was that he's 89 years old, but he's painted Muhammad Ali, but personally, commissioned, all these, anybody and everybody you can ever imagine. So
the project was the
1972 FA Cup winners, which it's about time. They've never ever, we've got Billy Bremner, we've got Don Revie, statues, but the whole team has never been celebrated. And it's like that team put Leeds United, that's where Leeds United is known, why it's known all over the world, So, this, it was the year of my birth.
Right, okay.
So, and my mum was watching, I was this, so that was in the May, I think it was May, May. And I was born in October. So my uncle, my mum's brother, Stephen Ford, who was like one of the best footballers in Leeds, he was a cracking footballer. He had like a penalty competition, and it started off sort of local and it went regional. He didn't miss one, right? And then it was half time, And I think because Gary Sprake wasn't playing, it was David Harvey, which I didn't realise till I was started working on this project. And he came on at half time, but it was live on television. So my mum's at home, what with me, in the oven, and and it was like, and he skied all three of them. So it was like, yeah. So I was nearly born premature to start with,
Right.
But anyway, I am going up rambling. We said this.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
But
It's all part of your history, isn't it?
Well,
We're all leading up to you.
Yeah, totally.
What's gone on in your life to lead you to this point now.
So then I was born in the October of '72, and then moving on like 11 months. So my dad, Brian, because I'm a Hurst actually. Brian Hurst was my dad, and again it's another Leeds United connection. He went to a football game, Leeds Hibernian. It's there in black and white, 0-0. Can you believe it? It was a European Cup, because it was after the European Cup game. And and he came back from the game. I had half a Guinness, and there was a guy, Arthur Wright, who had this. He had a garage in Hawksworth. It used to be the Honda garage. I don't know, So anyway, but he used to get all these souped up cars and all this and blah blah blah. So they come back from the game, and it's like my mum's there with me, and you can hear this, the car ticking over outside, fully expecting my dad to come in. And then half an hour goes, she's like, this is a bit strange. An hour, 3 hours, now she's panicking. 4 or 5 hours, there's a knock at the door. And it's 2 police officers. And, just informed that my dad had unfortunately died in a car accident round the corner from where we lived. We lived in Horsforth, and they'd gone down New Road side. And there's a reason why there's islands there. Where the Vesper Gate pub is. So because it was a notorious black blind thing. So whoever was driving, my granddad and my uncle, who've always been quite adamant, because there was, in them days there wasn't like the like the forensics and stuff. And they went down. They said the angle of it was he could never have been driving. So anyway, there was obviously going at some speed and overtaking, and a car coming towards, so swerved to avoid, and he just came out of the car and he flew and literally smashed into the side of the pub. And he got a broken arm. So that was a bit of a a bit of a start. You know?
I mean, that's the first time we've actually spoke about that, mate. To be fair, I mean, I'm gutted for you.
I know, man. So, well, it's one of those things because people say, oh, well, you didn't, it's certainly it's good because I didn't sort of know him, so to lose him. But that's the worst thing, because you've got all these guessing games, and nobody likes to speak about the dead bad, so you always have this, is this like a polished version of my dad, he was such a great kid, and everyone loved him, and this, that and the other, and and then obviously life moves on, and my mum married again. My stepdad, who I've got my lovely 2 sisters and brother, who are my full sisters and brothers. I were there from the birth, and but he wasn't the best, shall we put it that way. And I think there were a lot of jealousy, because my dad was on his way. He worked on. He was a confectioner. But it was like, but he used to make like these massive wedding cakes,
like an artist.
Yeah, and that's where,
weird,
and that's where, totally.
Yeah.
But it was back in the day when this wasn't very, it was quite a niche thing.
Yeah.
And he worked on JFK's wedding cake.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and that is, that's from the horse's mouth. That's not, some bullshit I've read in some thing, So obviously that's where it sort of initially came from. And then, you know, my stepdad wasn't the best, and that was in the day when, you know, where you could give kids a good old crack, if you like. But it was the way it was done, you know. It was like you feel the venom in it, you know. So I grew up quite a very, very angry young man, you know. And I went from school to school because it was quite a, you know, we moved around quite a lot, and I was always the new kid. I had to go in, and so I beat them all at cuppy and just knocked the cock of the head, you know, and that